Today, briefly, we'll be looking at how to create a YouTube thumbnail. When creating a YouTube thumbnail, there are times where it will be necessary to make use of some kind of real-life images. For instance, if you are talking about finances, you might want to add up like a few kind of naira or dollar notes or any other currency kind of picture. So one of the places to get a very good picture that is also free and of high quality is Pixabay, as you can see on my screen, pixabay.com. Yes, just go there, then you have your search button. So now briefly, before we create a thumbnail, first of all, let's check up on Google what is the size of a thumbnail. So now as you can see, they say we recommend that your custom thumbnails have a resolution of 1280 by 720 with a minimum width of 640 pixels. Now what they are trying to tell is that this is the resolution of your thumbnail, YouTube thumbnail. You can go ahead and check other links. I think they are all saying the same thing. 1280 by 720. Let's check. 1280 by 720. That means it's settled. So now you go to your design tool. In this lesson, I'll be making use of Photoshop. So now in your Photoshop, you go down to your file, then you go down to new, then under new, you see at this side, this is a place where you can name your file. Now if you can remember, based on our search result from our Google Chrome, they say it's 1280 by 720. That's the width is 1280 and the height is 720. Now the resolution, for you to maintain a very high quality of your design, is good to make your resolution to be 300 pixel per inch, not pixel per centimeter. Make sure you change it to pixel per inch. So, and your color mode should also be RGB, that's red, green and blue. It shouldn't be CMYK. CMYK is mostly for commercial printing. So this one, since we are dealing with just media, that's your YouTube, it's best you put it as RGB. So once you are done setting this up, you can go ahead and create. Now as you can see, we have our canvas. This white area you are seeing here is called the canvas. It's more like an area that can contain all of your design. So it means whatsoever thing we are going to design must all be on this white sheet. As for my design, I need a couple of things, such as the picture of the person's video whose thumbnail I'm making, and also what the video is trying to talk about. Now the topic of the video, or the video title, says international level prophecy about currency, in bracket dollar. So that was why I went ahead and downloaded these pictures of dollars. You can see they are from Pixabay and they're of high quality, and then I have his picture. Now to start with, before I do anything, if you look at these pictures, all of them are having a background. For instance, this one is having a black background, this one is having a white background, this one is also having a white background. Now for me to be able to use any of these pictures, I'll need to remove their background. And how do I do that? Now I take the tool and I bring them into my Photoshop. Now bringing them into my Photoshop, I don't want to place them on my white canvas. Instead, I want to create another canvas for the pictures. So I go ahead and direct them to this top and release. Now as you can see, I have them on different tabs from my normal design canvas. So now I'm going to go ahead. Now looking at this one, now in Photoshop, there are various means of selecting a picture. That's when you are trying to separate a picture from the background. You need to first of all select the picture, or you select the background and cut it off. Now for instance, if you look at this man, he's having a white background around him. So having a white background is very easy to do away with. Now the tool that will be best for this kind of design, or for this kind of task, will be the magic wand tool. Now you go ahead, you select your magic wand tool, you tap on the white, then you go ahead. As you can see, there's a plus sign on the wand. You hold down your shift key on your keyboard and you click on it. Now as you can see, this place have been added to the selection. So if you look at closely, you find out that his color is selected as well. So we can go ahead, we change it from quick selection from magic wand to quick selection to. And how do we do that? By the time you get to your tool, you right click on it to bring out the other options. So we select our quick selection tool. Now you can make your selection either bigger or smaller by making use of your coily bracelet. Yes, the coily bracelet facing the right increases it, while the one facing the left reduces it. So I can go ahead now to exclude this part of his clothes from the selection. I will just go ahead and hold down my Alt key. Now holding down your Alt key, you'll find out that the plus at the middle of your selection have become a negative sign. So you go ahead and click on it. Now as you can see, my background has been selected perfectly. So the next thing to do is I'll go ahead and delete it. As you can see, it was the background I selected and not the man itself. So for me to be able to mask it, I'll go ahead and hold down my Alt key, then I press my mask. As you can see, this one is your masking option. So now as you can see, we only have the man without the background. So I can now I'll go back to my layer side. I'll right click, apply the layer mask. Now pick the man, I'll bring him to my canvas. From here I'll resize him and I'll bring him to this side. Yes, I'll bring him to this side of my design. Let me increase the size. I think I'm okay like this. Now I'll go ahead and cancel this because I'm done. This one I no longer need it, so I'm going to cancel this one as well. So now I have this. Now the next thing to do is to save my work. So I'll go down, save it, pictures, save. And to save is easy, just press your Ctrl S. Yes, I'll be able to save your raw file. Now I have this. Now the next thing to take note of is the colors you'll be using. For instance, for this my design, I already have some couple of colors here. As you can see them here, I've already saved them as swatches. Yes, so now the two colors I'll be making use of in this design are yellow and black. Yellow and red, sorry, that's the two colors I'll be using, yellow and red. Now always take note while designing anything, whether it's a flyer design, a YouTube thumbnail, one thing you should take note of, make sure you don't use more than 3 colors. Now when I mean more than 3 colors, that's excluding white and black, because white and black are known as neutral colors. Are we getting it? So after your white and black, you should not use more than 3 colors. If not, your design will not look very good and very clean. So now the first thing I'm going to do, what I want to do, the kind of design I want to do here is, first of all, I'll select my shape and draw a rectangle. The color, I'm changing it from gradient to a normal solid red color. And this one, I'm going to bring it here. Now I'm going to hold down my Alt, using my external mouse scrolling bar to zoom in or zoom out. As you can see, you hold down your Alt key, then you use your scrolling button on your external mouse to either zoom in or out. So now I'll zoom out. I'll take this rectangle and I'll come to the edge, to the boundary. You make sure you come to any of the boundary, and I want to curve this one. I want to make it to be at an angle of 15 degrees. So this one, I'm going to increase it. Good. Then this same rectangle, I'll copy it. How do I copy it? I select my layer, I right click, Then I come to duplicate layer, you see, and I press OK. So I move it to this other side. Now I want the man to be at the middle. Now what I'm going to do is to select this my white arrow. Okay, so I'll come to my white arrow to make sure I select this shape, select this point. As you can see, selected. Hold my shift key and select the second point. As you can see, the second one is selected, so the 2 points are selected. And now using my shift and my left arrow, I'm going to increase the width. Now I think I'm done. Then I come and change the color of this one to yellow. Yes. So I'll come and increase the picture of the man. And this red, I want to put the picture of my dollar. So this is my dollar. I'll bring it in. Now this dollar, I don't want it to cover the whole place. And also I will rotate my dollar so that it can be vertical. I think I'm okay with it like this. I will increase the length. Yes. So now I want the dollar to just occupy the place of the rectangle. So now how will I do that? Now make sure the dollar, you put it on top of the rectangle, and after doing that, you come in between the dollar and the rectangle. Then you hold down your Alt. Once you hold down your Alt, you find out that the symbol have changed to something like this, having a down arrow, a rectangle with an arrow pointing downwards. So you click. Now I have this. So the next thing is to come to my dollar and I change the blending mode. As you can see, this place is called blending modes. I come out, change it to overlay, although you can try other blending mode to see which one suits your taste, but I think I'm okay with either overlay or soft light, but I think I'll go with overlay. So now I have this. The next thing is to put my writing. See, now remember, one of the main reasons of doing a thumbnail is to present the topic to the viewer. So it means the first thing is that we need to consider that the writing is as clear as possible. Now you go to your text, you select your text tool and you click on it. Once you click on it, a fake text will be created called lorem ipsum. Now you can change the color. I think black should go best with this kind of background. Yes. So now I'm going to select it, increase the size. You can increase the size here. Yes, as you can see. Then here I'm going to put, with my caps lock on, now as you can see, we can still make this writing better. For instance, we can bring this currency and about on the same line. We can increase the text. Then we can show a kind of emphasis. As you can see, all the text here are having a more like, so we can like lay emphasis. For instance, now looking at this one, we can see the most important things here are international, prophecy, and currency. So we can select all the text, then we come to this place. Instead of demi, we select book, or better still, we select medium. Then for international, we can select only international and use heavy for it to show a kind of emphasis. Then for the currency, we can also use heavy for it. Then also dollars, we can use heavy for it. So, and if you like, you can still decide to use a color difference. For instance, this I can decide to color it red. So we have international level prophecy about currency. Yeah, I think let's increase the width of these two. So all this one boils down to how you want it to look like. Yes. So now this one I'm going to structure it, align it. You choose your move tool, you come down here, you make sure you select align to canvas, down to align it to the horizontal, not to the vertical, because to the vertical to take it to the middle. So I just want to arrange it to the horizontal. Good. So that the distance between here and here is the same as the distance between here and here. The next thing is the name of the speaker. Yeah, although it's not necessary, but I always like to put it for reference sake. Yes, it's very good to quote somebody. So, and the name of this person is Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa. So I'll reduce the size of the text and bring it downward. Now for his name, I'm going to reduce it to book. Yes, I'll have something like this. Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa. Now instead of having just a plain text, I can decide to add shape to it. I'll make sure the shape is below the name, and I'm going to change it to a solid. So we can decide to use red, we can decide to use black, we can decide to use, okay, let's use black. So I'll change the text, the color of the text to white. Yes. So you can also align the text to the shape. You hold down your control key, then you come to the middle of the shape until it shows you something like this. Then you click, so you see that you have it selected. The next thing is to select your text, then align your text vertical, horizontal. Once you are done, you use your Control D, or you go to select, then deselect. Okay, so I think I'm okay. Let me see. So let me reduce these two. You see, I select the two, Control T. Let me reduce it a bit. I think I'm okay with this. Yes, I'm okay with this. So the next thing I want to do is to put my normal YouTube subscribe button. So I think I have it here already. So I'll bring it in. I'll reduce the size. I'm going to take it down. It says please subscribe. So I think I'm okay. So I think I'm okay with this. So once you are done, as you can see your text, you can change your text. You have so many texts, but I just decided to use the one I make use of. You can see this one. Remember what I told you initially. I say YouTube thumbnail is all about clarity. Yeah, so it's best to use fonts that can be read easily, and the rest, as you all know, most people make use of their phone to watch YouTube, and having a thumbnail on the phone is not as clear as the system. So it will be good to use a kind of font that can easily be read by both young and old. So I think that's all. So the next thing is to save your work. Now how do you save your work? You go to File, you go to Save As, then looking at this Save As, you come down to this point. I don't know which version you are using, but for your version, if you come down to Save As type, you should see JPEG. But for this my version, this is a 2021 version, you need to come to this Save a Copy, then you come back to Save As type. So as you can see, different format. Normally I like to save in JPEG. So you select where you want it to save to. I think I want it to save to YouTube thumbnail. Then you go ahead and save. You can see. Make sure you always use baseline optimize. It's much more better, although there's nothing wrong in using the two, but this baseline optimize is simply the best. So, and you make sure you save at high quality so that your thumbnail will come out with quality. So the next thing is to go ahead and press OK. So let's check. Let's see if our thumbnail is okay. As you can see, we now have our thumbnail. So thank you for watching.